all my scrapbooking peeps out there. Today I have a process video for you featuring some stash busting. I have some embellishments here from a couple of Pebbles summer collections that were back to back. One of them was the Sunshiny Days, and then I don't know the name of the other one, but Sunshiny Days was in 2016, and I believe the other collection was 2015. They had very similar colors and icons, so I kept those embellishments together. And then I have some scraps and a few of the full sheets of the Sunshiny Days collection. I've also pulled in some random papers from my stash. So I have this American Crafts paper with the stars and then the solid orange side. That's a super old paper. It doesn't even have a year on it. I have some green papers from HSN, this green star paper from a boy baby collection from Bella Boulevard, this orange gingham check from an Echo Park collection, a pink stripe from a Chamel collection, and then a couple more pieces from other Pebbles collections that have similar colors. And then I also have this yellow paper from the Hometown Summer collection by Pink Paisley. That's from 2011. And then this yellow stripe from Simple Stories. So lots of fun colors, lots of fun patterns to play with. Now, when I am working with a collection, I try to create a couple of layouts with that collection before, passing it on to a friend. But often I get tired of it after a couple layouts, but there are always some that I'm like, I know I'm going to come back to this collection later. I'm not tired of it. I'm just tired of it in the moment. So when that happens, I'll kind of save the extra pieces together in like a pocket page or something like that, like a page protector, and then I will come back to it. Now, in this case, I am looking for colors from my stash to add more weight to this little mini kit that I have created. So in my stash, I have like, file folder holders that hold my cardstock, and in the front of each of those sections I have like tonal pattern papers that I've saved from previous collections. So I'll either keep items together that I know I will come back to once I've had a break from it, or I will separate out the tonal patterns into those cardstock bins, and I'll show those to you one time. Now for this layout, I wanted to start with this ocean wave paper. It's so cute. It has this gradation of blue waves, and I decided to cut those apart with some fussy cutting scissors and then re-overlap them together so that they have a bit of shadow to them. And I popped up a few of the waves with some foam circles, but I'll come back after I've designed my layout here, after I've added the photos and the journaling and the title, and then I'll just pop up the waves that are peeking out from behind the photos. And so I don't have a foam circle like on every single wave, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use that yellow Hometown Summer paper as my background. I did gut the middle of it because I love that paper, and I never know if I'm going to use it to like mat the photo in the center of the layout or something like that, and I can always add it to my scraps. So I've also added a piece of that palm tree paper to the top of the page to just act as a sky and kind of set the scene for this layout. Now, this layout or this memory didn't happen in the summer, but I wanted it to have a summertime feel. My son had asked his girlfriend to homecoming, and then she answered him. He asked her with some flamingos, like those yard flamingos, and that you stick in, that have little legs that stick into your lawn. He like put a whole bunch of them in her lawn and said, "I'd be tickled pink to go to homecoming with you." And then she answered him with a hermit crab. She actually bought him like a little pet. So they kind of had a beachy feel with the way they were asking each other. So I thought that would be fun to carry that feel into this layout about her answering him. So it was so cute. This little hermit crab had this little cage and everything that had it felt like SpongeBob SquarePants to me, like that little coconut house that reminds me of, what's his name? Patrick the Starfish. I don't know. My kids used to watch it when we were little, so I'm probably not remembering things right. So anyway, I thought I would, definitely incorporate crabs into this layout. And then I will also incorporate like a yellow pineapple, because that's where SpongeBob lived. I don't know. I'm just kind of grabbing or adding a tropical theme to enforce that memory or to mimic that memory a bit. So these snapshots aren't beautiful. They're just on my cell phone. They're kind of dark. And so also the bright papers are going to brighten those up a bit. So when I selected this collection, I picked it because it did have some crab elements. You saw that really cute journal card that had crabs across the bottom. I love the little crabs, and I was planning on showing those. But as I, figured out where my photos were going to go, it just didn't make sense to have the crabs on the top of the photo. It kind of was distracting. So I decided to tuck that behind the photo and And now I'm going through the pieces, the die cuts, the stickers, some fussy cut clouds, and kind of deciding what I want to tuck in here. I found this flamingo die cut. I thought that would be fun to tuck in here because he did ask her with all those flamingos stuck in her lawn. And then the stickers had this little cute crab here. And then of course I had to pull out that pineapple just to reinforce the yellow border that I have going on. And then of course the crab is the kind of mimicking a hermit crab. So now I'm going back again through the stickers and die cuts and looking for items that I can balance out the colors. So because I had that yellow pineapple on the right side, I'm going to place a yellow sun over here on the left side, and I'm just starting to, create balance. I also pulled that palm tree sticker to start creating a little scene for our flamingo there. I then grabbed a couple of palm tree stickers to add the green to the right side. And then I'm just going to kind of reinforce this little scene with a little sandcastle. I can't tell if there's a little sandcastle in that habitat, but it does repeat the brown color of the coconut house, so that's cute. And then I also wanted to repeat that pink color of the flamingo over to the right side of the page, so I'm going to pop in this pink flower. So it's starting to take shape, and I'm just starting to build my little scene here. I'm going to add some more leaves down here on the bottom just to soften the edges of the straight rectangles of the photos and connect the photos together. So you probably can tell that I like to overlap and have items touching on my pages so that they do feel connected with one another. Okay, so I'm going to, since I had that pink flower on the right, I'm going to add some flowers to the left. This is an orange flower. I think I put that kind of thinking it would balance out the orangey red color of the crab. And now I'm going back in and just finding some smaller flower pieces that I could fill out this little scene on the bottom. There were a few white flowers, and I'm going to tuck one up by that orange one. I also added a blue one down on the pineapple. I will eventually find another blue one. I think you can see it on the sticker sheet there and repeat that over on the left. And that's kind of creating a visual triangle of the blue pattern paper mat that I put behind the main photo. So yeah, just playing with all the pieces, trying to balance out the colors and make it feel full and embellished, I guess. So I had not cut out all the waves. I didn't know how tall of the waves I wanted on this page, and I did decide to go back and add in this last little wave piece to fill out the top. So I'm going to go ahead and get that tucked in there. Now across the bottom, I had placed a branding strip in that blue and white stripe, and that was to balance out the white at the top of the paper. I really liked that, but as I built my little scene at the bottom, I felt like it needed a little shelf to sit on to just kind of anchor everything. And so I'm going to move that branding strip up underneath my little crab scene and the bottom photo. And instead of having the branding strip touch the edges going side to side, because I have the waves going, I'm just going to cut the ends of that branding strip at an angle. Now I'm ready to start working on my title. So I went to my stash, and as you know, I'm trying to use up my letter stickers this year because I have a million of them. So I decided to pull out some different red alphabets here, and I'm just trying a few of those on, and you can see the ones. So do you guess which one I landed on? All right, yeah, I landed on this red Subway one. This is a thicker set called Subway. I think it's one of their first sets they ever released. However, it's a lowercase, it's a lowercase alphabet. And so I wanted it to kind of go across the top of the photo there. So in between the photo and the journal block, there was kind of this trapped white space. So I decided to put one of those fussy cut clouds from the pattern paper to fill that in so that it didn't, just design wise, it wasn't so weird. I'm pretty set on this Subway title or these Subway letters, but I did want to try them on and see what they looked like without sticking them to my layout. So I pulled out some wax paper, and then I used like a grid ruler to try those out. And I really liked how that looked. I was kind of thinking about this puffy letters set as well, but it's quite thin, and I just didn't feel like it was bold enough, even though it's super cute. I actually have 3 packages of those, and so I think that's why I was going back to it one more time just to see, okay, let's use this. I actually have 3 packages of this, but I did settle on that red subway. I just feel like the feel of the font is perfect for this page. So I decided to do the title that is That's Crab-ulous, just kind of a play on words because she gave him a little hermit crab. And now I'm going back with some more of those fussy cut clouds from the Sunshiny Days paper, and I'm just going to build out my scene and add a few of those at the top and hopefully make that feel complete. It also helps to have a downward motion. So your eye kind of starts at the top left corner, goes through the title, then the journaling and the photos, and ends in the bottom right corner in that pineapple cluster with the crab. Now I wanted something else to go here. I felt like there was this little empty spot below this red framed photo or this red matted photo. So I thought of putting like a label sticker or die cut there. And I was trying that. I thought I could stamp a phrase or something. I found this blue one. I don't know who made it. I'm guessing probably Ellie's Studio or Chic Tags. It's just in a baggie of a whole bunch of little labels that I've saved from sticker sheets and stuff. And I'm guessing it's probably a Ellie Studio. So I was gonna place that below the photo, but then I just liked the way that it looked below the crab. It felt like it balanced out the color, the blue color. So anyway, that's where I'm gonna place it. So I'm coming in now with some gems. I showed this gem binder on a recent video, so if you're curious about how I organize my enamel dots and gems, you can check that out. And so I'm going to place some yellow gems on the sun. I placed some yellow gems in the centers of those tiny white flowers, and then I accented a couple of the clouds with some white gems or some clear gems. Now I felt like the bottom needed just a little bit more below that branding strip. And so I brought out some tomato color vibe cardstock from Simple Stories and then my Stampin' Up scallop punch. And I just punched a little piece here that I'm going to accent the branding strip with. And I love that. I think that balances out that bold red title at the top. Also balances out that red of the crab, which is kind of the focus of this layout. Now I did want to add a few more little details. This page was missing something soft, right? We have something sparkly, we have some dimension with all of our little layered clusters, but I wanted something soft on this page. So I grabbed my trusty thin white twine. If you've been taking classes from me at Simple Stories Online, you know I use this a lot. I love it because it's really soft and subtle. It's not very bulky, and you can just add a few little details here and there. So I decided to add a bow to the top of the pineapple with a double length of that thin white crochet twine. And then I also added a bow to the flamingo's neck, which they just look so cute all dressed up. I'm going to pencil in my journaling here. I'll come back and add, some black writing to that. And then one more thing I did off camera that I don't show here is that I went into my brown enamel dots and I found some by Doodlebug and placed those on the palm tree to look like coconuts. And that just finished this out perfectly. I then added some stitching around the edging, and that's my layout. So I hope you enjoyed this stash layout today and that inspired you to get into your room and do some crafting. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Thanks for joining me.